Hey everybody, this is Joe. Thank you for watching my Giga-Texas construction update video.
Well, welcome back out to Giga-Texas. It is Monday, the 15th of July, 2024. It's a beautiful day to fly, although earlier in the morning we had some fog. Now, a couple of things that I want to talk about before we get into the main video today that I think you'll find interesting. First of all, last week I talked to you about the end-of-line facility and how that was coming online, and they were moving all of the operations for the Model Y and the Cybertrucks across the highway over to that facility, and that was freeing up a lot of space and capability that they can repurpose inside the factory. Today, I would like to add on to that by saying that starting this morning, a new shift schedule has been implemented here at Giga-Texas for production, and it affects both the Model Ys and the Cybertruck lines. And that change is originally, or at least up until today, they've been working Monday through Saturday doing production. But starting today, it is now Monday through Thursday, and the shift is going to run from 6 in the morning to 6 in the evening here at Giga-Texas. Now, with this reduction in the number of days of production, you might think that that means that we're going to see less vehicles, but I was told that they're going to still be able to make the same number of vehicles, just in a more efficient way. In fact, that's part of the reason why they're making this change, is this allows them the ability to make the best use of the labor force that they currently have here at Giga-Texas, and it also helps reduce some of the costs by having one less shift during the week. And another thing is that it gives the employees a 3-day weekend, which is something I think that they like. But in the midterm, this allows the end-of-line operations to fully move to the opposite side of the highway in that new end-of-line facility, and for them to get all of these processes underway and working optimally. Also, sometime in the near future, according to the boring company, we're supposed to have the boring tunnel finished and able to have the Cybertrucks drive through it. And once that comes online, that will affect to some degree a little of the operations, but it'll in the long term make things much more efficient, and they are greatly looking forward to that. And the last reason why they are bringing the lines down is this frees up some time for not only line maintenance but also line upgrades as we start looking towards the end of this year and new products that will be coming out of Giga-Texas by the end of the year. So all in all, this is reasons why the changes are being made. I know that some people are going to ask, how long is this new schedule going to last? I don't know. My sense is it's going to last for a period of time, but probably not the rest of the year, but we shall see. Now, the last thing for the intro that I want to go over is, as you can see by this short video clip, Idra, the company that makes the Giga castings for here at Giga-Texas, and there are 8 of them here, just won the Innovative Award for Europe. So congratulations to Idra, and I know that they make a big difference here at Giga-Texas with the production that's going on. So without further ado, that's the intro for today, and I hope that you enjoyed the information and also the update on the shifts. So let's get into the drone, let's fly around, and let's see what Giga-Texas looks like on this Monday morning.
If you would like to support my efforts, please consider using these links, which will be in the video description. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe buttons on my YouTube video, as this helps as well. Thank you. My drones are ready and raring to go. Let's go flying over Giga-Texas. Well, good morning from the west side, looking across the outbound lot towards Giga-Texas with a moody sunrise. Lots of clouds, lots of fog early this morning, but it will clear up during the flight. So I thought I would start here on the far west section, looking at this material staging yard and all of the items that are being stored here, including some boxes that have IDRA on them on the upper left, and some other materials as well. These blue and white items are part of a server room cooling system. And of course, the trailer here for the TKS modular paint system that's being installed on the second floor of the body in white. And this is a good view of the workshops that are responsible for some of the piping work. And here it looks like we've got some blue items in addition to the tanks, some steel items, and possibly either some pumps or generators that have been delivered here. In addition to that, some of the materials in the center of the screen, most of which are going over to the baghouse filtration plant on the east side of the casting machine structure. As we fly up over these power lines, good view of this triangular parking lot with a lot of steel items that are now being stored here. This is relatively new and indicates that there's another construction project getting ready to start somewhere on the site, possibly in this location. Many other concrete vault items stored here, along with additional materials on the south side and some of the steel corrugated pipe for the underground water management system. But this is a great view of all of this work here, plus some additional dirt that's being stockpiled here and some gravel. And we'll have to watch and see where this is eventually used. Now at the bottom of the screen, some of the crates with the glass that's waiting for installation, some more dirt, and the last small items, including that metal ramp for the boring company tunnel boring machine operation. And the rest of the tunnel boring machine has already been disassembled and moved off-site. Great view of the West Warehouse on wheels, and in the upper left, the new end-of-line facility and outbound lot. And then here is a view across the highway with some of this kind of fog with the sun trying to come up over the horizon, and some views here of the work on the South Bridge on the ground where they are doing some fiber optic cable and doing some work with the underground water pipes that are part of the drainage system that serves the Cyberpond and the south end of Giga-Texas. So there's some sort of modifications being done there. So bring the drone back down on this part of the site. I wanted to show you these concrete liners, these flat slabs. These are the ones that will be the road surface on the inside of the tunnel. They're all being stored here right now before they are installed. Crews are busy putting the last parts of the utility piping system on the bottom part of the tunnel, and then these will go on top. And there will be periodically, some of them have little access points so that people can get in and work on those utilities. Some more of the materials being stored on the bottom of the screen here, and of course where the spoils bin and the belt cassette used to be, plus the silos for the grout plant, all of which are now gone. And in the middle of the screen we can see this trailer, some of the orange conduit for possibly fiber optics going through the tunnel, and this may be related to the fiber optic installation we're seeing on the berm on the other side of the highway. Good view of some of the conduit on the bottom of the screen and what the tunnel looks like with just a few trailers remaining. As I reposition the drone towards the highway and looking back, this is a good vantage point to see what the overall site looks like now. Obviously the tunnel is the main attraction, and this is waiting for not only those road surfaces installed on the inside and the utilities, but also there will be a facing structure that will be installed on this side, also the one on the inside of the extension to finish out the tunnel and allow the vehicles, specifically the Cybertrucks, to go through the tunnels here. Now, I've had a lot of viewers ask, does the Cybertruck fit in the tunnel? And the answer is yes, it does. We've even seen Jay Leno and Elon Musk drive a Cybertruck through a similar tunnel, so it will definitely fit. Here's a good view of the outbound lot with a lot of Cybertrucks, not a lot of Model Ys, but the transport trucks have been busy over the weekend. So until the production gears up later this morning, it's going to look kind of empty for a while. And that explains why it's empty on the south end here with the superchargers as well. Now, as we fly along the east side of the end-of-line facility, as I mentioned on my previous video, this is where all of the end-of-line operations are in the process of moving, freeing up space, and changing some of the operations in the main factory. So take a look at my 12 July video. I have a lot more information about what is going on with this facility. But I'm going to pull away, give you a good overall view of the entire West Support facility, which includes the end-of-line facility, the outbound lot, the material staging, and the warehouse on wheels. And we can also get a good view of this roadway that runs north to south and connects River Road on the south and Tesla Road on the north. I wanted to come up here and stop at this section to take a look at the Evapco fan units, the bases, some of the heat exchangers on the left, and tanks, and see if there's any noticeable changes. It does look like there's some rebar that has been brought by on the left-hand side of the screen, more of these kind of wooden crates that have been delivered, and pipe segments on the ground, plus additional, it looks like either pipes or steel or both being stored in the middle center of the screen. But still waiting to figure out where these are going to go. Who knows? Maybe it's related to all of that steel we saw on the south end, that triangular parking lot that is starting to fill up. This staging yard is also busy. The two white tents are kind of the giveaway of where we are, and we can see these from all over the site. And it continues to be very active on this part of Giga-Texas with all the material staging and the workshops that are in this area. It's a great view looking down to the south on State Highway 130 that kind of separates the two halves of the Giga-Texas property, and a great view across the highway of Giga-Texas. Now, I mentioned some of the fiber optic installation. This is part of that, and it's continuing along the entire length of this berm, and possibly even going through the boring tunnel as we saw earlier. But you'll see many of these small stations with that orange cabling inside. Some looks like radiused conduit piping as well, and they've been using horizontal drilling through this area for all of this conduit. Taking a look at this dirt section, we've seen a few days of activity over the last several months, but it's still staying pretty much like this. So I'm not sure what the overall plans are once they decide to finish this, but it'll be something I'll periodically be watching. And of course, here's some more view of the trenching, that orange conduit, and how this is continuing to follow this berm. And more excavation work here. I believe this is related to that fiber optic cable as well. And we can get a good view of what the factory looks like from this vantage point as we fly up over these trees and this break area for the employees. Now, we talked about production shift changing Monday through Thursday, 6 in the morning to 6 in the evening. And this is the first day with that new shift. The Model Ys are starting to pile up coming out of the factory as the shift has been in action for about an hour and a half by the time I started flying. This gives you a good view of what that activity looks like. I'll take a quick stop here, take a look at the west main entrance. Wanted to see how the trapezoidal stone glass structure looks. And you can see along the perimeter, several more of those sections have come off. And that continues to be a challenge for Tesla as they try to figure out how best to care for that material. As we fly further to the south, there's a good view of some of the activity on the left with the receiving doors and also this trailer where we've seen some Cybertrucks stored, and also Cybertrucks exiting the factory for the first time this morning as part of the production increases. And as I mentioned, once the boring tunnel on the inside of the extension on the south end here is fully operational, then that temporary exit will be finished and they will seal that up. On the bottom left, we see some trenching and some white piping being installed along this part of the factory extension. This is a great view of some of the interior walls. We see some more of those steel studs being installed with wall panels to frame out the inside, and a lot of the corrugated or the galvanized steel ducting that's being installed throughout this entire area. Good view on the top floor as well with that large mezzanine. That's where the supercomputer data cluster is being installed, and a lot more boxes for deliveries as well on that bottom floor. I wanted to show you this. On the left-hand side of the screen, we saw the kind of that opening in the southwest corner glass. All of this area is being cleared out. They are doing grade work, as you can tell on the center left of the screen. And all of this is being prepared for most likely a final treatment that will turn this into perhaps a new entrance, maybe the entrance for the headquarters for Tesla, somewhat separating it from the factory itself. And maybe we'll see those large flagpoles installed in this area that I mentioned when I had my tour on the 3rd of July. This is a great low-level view of how this area is transforming, the grade work that's being done, that entranceway, the glass, and some of those generators that are powering the south side as electrical cabling and wiring are continued to be installed. Good view of the tunnel on the left. The screw-type pier extensions have been cut down, so they're getting ready for the pile cap, and that's what all this rebar is for. That will tie it into those screw-type piers. Here's another example with all of the ends cut off now, and then they'll be able to pour the concrete for the apron to enter and exit through those areas. Possibly allow for some heavy shipping of items as well. And here's a good view of the last of the tunnels with those screw-type pier ends that have been cut off. It's a great view of the activity on this southeast side. We see more of the rebar cages on the bottom of the screen on the left, and more rebar, and this is most likely related to that construction of the south end, and probably more concrete to finish out the south end as well. Deliveries of white containers on the second floor here. And the big news, of course, is the continued installation of these large brown water pipes that will bring the cooling water from the plant with the 6 fans to the extension and into the supercomputer cluster for cooling. And here's a good top-down view of the progress that they've made. We can also see conduit is now extending out of the extension to those concrete vaults, some of those concrete blocks to hold the piping down, and some additional formwork. And it looks like they are just now entering the the underground section of the chiller plant, where those pipes will then branch along those concrete bases with the semicircular cutouts to the north and the south. Great view of the fan units and with workers to give you a good sense of scale. They've also taken out one panel in each of the fan units for access in and out of there for continued construction. And a great view of the ground level here with some more of the electronic equipment that is being installed. And as I kind of turn around towards the extension, it's just a good overall view of how these work together and what the south end of the building appears like now with the construction well underway. The lined pond still has some standing water. We have had rain in the area. We also see the kind of the driveway with maybe a platform for equipment, and a good view of this pipe that extends out of the lined pond and then into this trench towards River Road. Speaking of which, River Road extension continues to see work. They've added in all the gravel on this side of the River Road, and this is being used for material staging, workshops, and vehicles for the glass company. And this used to be stored on the southwest corner, but with all the grade work underway, they had to move them. We also see some additional of those gray pipes for the cooling system being stored. It's a good view of the intersection between Robotic Avenue on the right going towards the north and the River Road extension on the left going towards the south. And this will continue to have development work until those are completely connected through that intersection. It's a great view of this area where there will be external parking on the ground level, some trench work in the median for electrical conduit being installed right now, and a good view of some of the grass seed mixture that has been put on for landscaping around the perimeter of the building itself. As I move to the north, a good view of how this section is looking, some of the trench work that's still underway, and you can see many cars now parked in this structure. And this is helping to alleviate the employee overflow lot that we'll see here later in the video, and that will free up the ability for the East Warehouse on Wheels possibly to expand now that the multi-level parking garage is pretty much operational. As I fly down over the roof to this section here, I wanted to show you the workshops that are underway with equipment for this section with all of the ducting. There's most of the grading material installed, one opening remaining. And also on the right-hand side of the screen, we can see against that parapet wall, all of the pipe work, the rack mounts, and where the electrical cables are going to be run all the way along the length of the building up to that north end where there's that conduit being installed underneath Tesla Road and into the casting machine structure. It's a good view of the former testing and calibration lot that is now being used for some Cybertruck temporary storage. In addition to that, some of the Model Ys here on the left as well. And not a lot of activity with the superchargers, as this is not the predominant lot anymore since everything is, for the most part, been relocated to that west end of line. But as I turn the drone around the turbo roundabout part of the road, a good view of this east side of the factory and all of the castings that are still being stored out here, although there is a lot less than we saw in my previous video because of production. Good view of the glass secondary entranceway and some of the new receiving doors with those orange cooling ducts. And then this section with the dirt continues to have final preparations and continuing to watch. It seems like it's a constant thing, but one of these days we're going to see concrete poured there. Moving towards the north along the east side, a great view of the baghouse filtration plant and its current status. A lot of the equipment installed and being installed on the left-hand side of the screen. There are some of the galvanized steel stands, and then the kind of the boxed galvanized items are put on top, and we see some ventilation ducting being installed as well. The steel structure itself is, for the most part, complete for now. We'll have to see if there's additional steel installed. And then on the ground, we can see those 3 square slabs for additional equipment and that form for another large piece of equipment being prepared. This clearing has got the electrical conduit on the north and south. The screw-type piers have been installed. You can see the saw cutting that is getting ready to open up the wall for another door and the reconfiguration of that kind of wide receiving door, most likely into a section of 3 individual doors. But we'll continue to watch and see how that develops. So I'm going to pull away and we're going to go take a look at the battery cathode plant and the die shop. Looks like there's been some additional black items that have been delivered on that north part by those porta potties, and still work on the right-hand side of the screen for what eventually will be more asphalt paving. As I bring the drone down here, I wanted to give a good look at some of the old concrete still waiting for breakup and recycling, and the materials that continue to be stored here next to that red and white bridge crane and the steel tank-like items. As we fly to the east side of the battery cathode plant, here's a great look at the cell test lab. Some of the trailers on the left and the main trailer, the brown one on the right, some generators it looks like, and of course the wade pit here, and some more of the vehicles that have had crash testing recently, and it involves almost every vehicle that is in the lineup for Tesla right now. There's a good view of some of the doorways that have been added, the new concrete slab, and what looks to be a small wall with 4 openings being prepared in that section with the new concrete. It's a good view of the crash test facility north end, how its operations look today, and that rotisserie as well. And another one of those sections that is open up, although it looks like they are starting to frame it out with some steel for a smaller receiving door. So something else I'll just continue to monitor as it continues to develop. Now as we fly around the south end of the battery cathode plant, a good look at the 4 receiving doors and another small door being added. And here at the die shop, that plywood still in place where the glass was broken. And I'll bring the drone down so we can fly to the north in the alleyway, because there is some activity at the chiller plant. And we can see the crane at operation right now. We can see some of the scaffolding around the stainless steel tanks. But the big action is where all the workers are. They have the 2 generators, those trailers, and they have what looks like to be portable pumps or chiller units. And it looks like they are busy installing more of the equipment and maybe connecting it into the chiller plant or preparing for that. You can see the yellow pipe segments with the black pipes that are being prepared. Those are most likely going to be added onto the yellow blanking plates on the gray structures. And you can see many more of them as well. So it looks like we may be seeing either some testing, or they may be augmenting its capabilities with this equipment. But it's pretty interesting just to see how all of this continues to develop while the cathode plant is in some level of production already. So I'm going to bring the drone up and we're going to fly over to the west and take a look at the electrical switch yard. Now, in case you missed it on my previous video, I also talked about the addition of a 3rd transformer that's going to go right in the section here that I am showing you, this open section. The 2nd and 1st transformers are on the right-hand side of the screen. This will tie into where you see the scaffolding on top of the vault, and there will be 3 of these white trailers when that is completed. That will also connect to all of the conduit that runs under the section of ground that I am showing you here. Some of the concrete vaults is an indication of where that conduit runs. Takes a 90-degree turn here, goes under the power lines, and then it eventually goes through that dirt section underneath Tesla Road and to the north part of the casting machine structure. All of this is going to be connected to that 3rd transformer, and then the wires are running the length of the parapet wall of the entire length of the building and connecting into the supercomputer cluster room on the south extension. As I come in lower, this is a great view of the current work that is underway. You can see these risers for the conduit being installed here. So that suggests that there's going to be some sort of above ground equipment installed in this area once they are completed. And as we approach Tesla Road, another good view of more of the conduit and concrete vaults as they look now. This is where it takes slightly more than 90-degree turn, goes underneath Tesla Road here through this landscape section under the parking lot to this area where the trench work is underway and the conduit is being installed. And this connects into the conduit you see sticking out of the ground that already goes through the area where we see those rack mounts for the castings and into the casting machine structure. So this is one of the final connecting points on this part of the site until the conduit is contiguous underneath Tesla Road and to the north. It's a good view of some of the rack mounts and castings on this north end, and some of those rack mounts for the bodies in white on the ground as well. As we continue to pass these blue trailers on the left and the plastics manufacturing section of the building, wanted to give you a good close-in view of this section, which is getting a semi-permanent wall that's using those yellow panels. They have the underlying treatment, they have the texture coating that's going on, and then it will be stained white to blend in to the rest of the facility. And if you can see the slightly different color sections all over that part of the factory, those are all those semi-permanent structures or walls that will someday most likely be removed and reconfigured. But for now, it looks like they're walling up this part of the factory. So as I pull away, this is a great overall view of the areas that we were able to see today on this Monday. And of course, now with the changed shift schedule, it'll be something that we'll watch for, especially on Friday, to see how production changes and how this all looks. So as always, thank you very much for watching and for your support.